what are some books I can read to learn more about formulating? I'll answer that question for you guys today. I also want to share with you guys just some other content creators who create content like me, or other sources online you can go to learn more about formulating. If you're a beginner and you want to learn how to formulate, I recommend watching my Formulating for Beginners series. Click the link in my description box and it will take you to a playlist of all the videos in my Formulating for Beginners series. I take you through a step-by-step process that I think is the best step-by-step process for a beginner to learn how to formulate. So watch that series, and I definitely think you'll feel confident enough to create your own formulas and start experimenting on your own and making all kinds of stuff. Discovering Cosmetic Science. This is the book I have read the most of. I am really bad at reading. I love to buy books and then never read them. But this one I have almost finished. This is my favorite one. I feel like this book took a lot of concepts that I already knew and was familiar with, but helped me like understand them more in my mind in like a scientific way. I think this is a good book even for a beginner to pick up, but I think if you're a beginner, this might make you scared to formulate. It might discourage you, because I just really feel like a beginner who isn't a sciencey person might find it to be confusing. Like, I don't know. I just don't want someone to pick this up and like be like, oh wow, formulating, there's like a lot of science to it and it's kind of intimidating. Because it kind of can be intimidating, but I promise if you do baby steps of getting into it, it won't be that intimidating. I do recommend this if you're a beginner and you're serious about wanting to formulate, but take it slowly. Don't read the book super fast. Read like a chapter and then kind of like take notes on it. It's a really good book. I definitely recommend it. This next book is actually the first book I ever purchased. It's, well, formulating book. I've bought books before this one. This is Milady Skincare and Cosmetic Ingredients Dictionary, 4th edition. The beginning of it does a good job at talking about the skin and the different layers and how the skin functions. So if you want to learn about that topic, this is good for that. And then after that, it's literally just a dictionary dictionary A to Z of a bunch of different ingredients. And I think it's really helpful because there are some ingredients I've tried to Google and I can't really find much information on, and it's in this book. But also I have come across a lot of ingredients that aren't in this book. So if you're somebody whose internet goes out a lot and you need to like Google ingredients, this. If you've been formulating for a long time, I don't think you need this book. But if you're a beginner, I do think it's a fun book to have, and if you have money to spend, but it's not necessary. But I do think it's a good book, and I do recommend it. This next book is the A to Z of Natural Cosmetic Formulation. I was a little disappointed in this book because I didn't take the title literally. The title is literal. It's an A to Z list of words we use in the formulating community, and it's explained. So if you are a beginner, I think this is really, 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 really helpful. I think the terminology and hobbies often discourage like newbies of coming in. Things like surfactant, pH, stabilizer, emulsifier, solubilizer, like all of those, people are like, what? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And also just understanding the difference between ingredients like body butter or lotion or cleansing oil or balm or anhydrous, active surfactant matter. I try to do my best at not using this type of terminology and like wording in my videos because, again, it discourages people who are new. They're like, what are you talking about? What is a surfactant? It's like, just because most people who are watching me know what a surfactant is, it doesn't mean everybody knows. So yeah, I think this is great if you're a beginner. If you've been formulating for a while and you understand what all those words are that I have randomly said, you don't need this book. I also did find there is some inaccurate information in this, but it must be a few years old because the information it's saying is like the information that I remember everybody saying like a few years ago online. So some stuff is wrong in it, but I haven't read it all because I don't really need to, because it's literally just a dictionary. So do I regret buying it? Yeah, because I don't need it. But I think it'd be good for a beginner. Okay, this next book came from the UK. It is Modern Cosmetics. This book, I guess I would describe it as more like an encyclopedia, not a dictionary, because I use it a lot of times to look up oils. So this does a really good job at breaking down avocado oil. Breaking down oils. Like avocado oil has 16% palmitic acid, 7% palmitoleic acid. Yeah, like that is such interesting information to me. It goes more in depth about all these oils too. That's mainly what I use it for, is learning about oils. It also talks about like honey and glycerols, milk proteins and peptides, silk and silk proteins. Like, it talks about all kinds of ingredients. But again, I mainly use it for the oils. And the beginning of it also talks about topics. I didn't read the beginning of it, so I really don't know. The first chapter is Natural Cosmetics, What Is There to Know? I think it's really interesting. I really like this book. I think it was worth it. So yeah, if you want more in-depth information about oils specifically, because that's what I use it for, this book. It's also beautiful. Gorgeous. Ew, this next book, I don't like. I had a lot to say about it. Can't tell. Go on Patreon if you want to see a deep dive of me talking about that book. The Beauty of Science. Debunk the myths and discover what goes into your beauty routine. This is by Dr. Michelle Wong, and she's also known as Lab Muffin Beauty Science. And she has a YouTube channel. Love. If you don't want to watch her long form videos, go to Instagram, follow her there. She does great videos on the science of skincare. Like, if you want to understand like more of the science behind skincare and debunk myths in the skincare industry, the beauty industry. Unfortunately, I haven't read her book yet. I'm so sorry. Like I said, I love to buy books and never read them. It's my favorite hobby. So the first page I actually opened is one of my favorite topics. Are natural beauty products better or safer? So she talks about that topic. Are cosmetic ingredients dangerous? And I love like the illustrations, very pretty. Are expensive products better? Again, beautiful illustrations. Can beauty products be sustainable? How does pregnancy affect my hair and skin? Do I need to moisturize? Look at that. Look how pretty these are. So pretty. Is face wash better than a bar soap? Do I need to exfoliate? So many topics. So this is more about like not formulating. Even if you don't make skincare products, this would be informative. I think to anybody who is putting stuff on their skin, this is very, very informative. But also if you are making products, you can find it very informative. Honestly, the more I'm looking at this, I'm like, I need to read this. Highly recommend this book. This book actually reminds me of another YouTuber's book. Let me find it. This one is Skincare Decoded, The Practical Guide to Beautiful Skin by Victoria Fu and Gloria Liu, skincare chemists and creators of the myth-busting blog. And again, this book is more for just any average consumer. You don't have to be a formulator, but this book does a really good job at explaining skin, how skin works, and how different types of skincare products work. Again, beautiful illustrations. Love it. Talks about cleansers, toners. It does a really good job at helping you understand the difference between different products. And also talks about like chemical exfoliants, retinol, peptides. Look at all those things I highlighted on this page. This book, I think I actually read the whole thing. And also this page, it does a good job at explaining the different types of devices people use on their skin. And this book also does a really good job at explaining like different types of UV filters and sunscreens. I remember learning a lot about that from this book. I love this book. Highly recommend. All right, this next book is Cosmetic Formulation, Principles and Practice. I haven't read this book. You can probably see why. Like, this book, it doesn't look fun to read. It looks like a textbook from school. So I haven't read it yet, but I do recommend it because from what I've skimmed through it, it goes into in-depth topics that I think are hard to find online, or being able to make sure you're learning about it accurately. They do such a good job at citing all their sources. Like, look at this page of sources. So much stuff is in this book. I can't give you really my opinion on it. But as you can tell, there's a lot, and it's very scientific. It's very, I would say I don't recommend this for a beginner. But if you've been formulating for a while and you really want to learn more professionally on the science of skincare formulating, this book for sure. This next book, it's Cosmetic Microbiology, A Practical Approach, 3rd edition. This book, I haven't actually read, but I have like referenced it from time to time. I even have like a few notes. I highlighted a lot too. It looks like I was doing a lot of learning about preservatives and chelating agents from this book. I have like a whole bunch highlighted about like parabens and stuff. And I also remember this book was going in depth on like piping, hoses, filling equipment, gauges and meters, like all like how to clean like tubes and stuff like that in the lab. It goes into so much detail on so many topics I don't see addressed. So I highly recommend this book, even if you are a beginner. Actually, I recommend this book if not to beginners, but a beginner if you are wanting to sell, because you need to make sure you're doing all those things properly. But I haven't read it yet. Well, I started reading it. It looks like I got to page 25. That's how far I got. And then I did do some reading of it at the end. This is Good Manufacturing Practices for Soap and Cosmetic Handcrafters. I definitely recommend this book for any beginner, definitely if you want to sell. And I love the way this book looks, like the big letters. It just doesn't look intimidating to read. Marie Gale is very, very informative when it comes to formulating. I will be sure to link her blog down below. This next book is Formulations in Cosmetic and Personal Care. I bought this book mainly just because I actually just liked the cover. That was why. And I was just randomly buying a whole bunch of books on how to formulate. I haven't read this one at all. I haven't even really skimmed through it at all either, to be honest. So I really have no idea what to say. You know what? As I'm skimming through this is great for beginners. It's going into all the basic topics that I think should be introduced to beginners first. But again, haven't read it, so I can't say for sure. But by looking at the contents, seems pretty good. I'll put this in the category of not for beginners, but beginners who want to learn more about the science. This next book, haven't read either. Look how thick she is. Surfactants in Personal Care Products and Decorative Cosmetics 3rd edition. Again, this goes into a lot of the science on surfactants, like the cover says. Haven't read it, so I don't have anything to say, guys. I'm so sorry. So it first talks about the skin, how the skin functions. A lot of these books cover that topic. And then talks about like pigments, surfactants, emulsions, cleansers, conditioners, skin lipid structure. Yeah, this book actually has a lot. As I'm going through the contents, this book also has a section on surfactants and lip products. I actually want to read about that to learn more about lip products. So that's why I personally like to pick up these books, because even though I already know like a good chunk of stuff, there are specific things like lip products or like nail polishes I don't know anything about. And these books will have topics on that, or like oral care. It even has a section about foundations and, like I said, nail care. So yeah, if I want to learn anything more about topics that I don't already know, that's like why I got these books. I think it was this book that I seen talking about nail polish. I don't know. There was one book talking about nail polish. I thought, I want to learn about nail polish. Okay, these last two books. Okay, actually these did come in handy a couple times. Both of these books. First one is a self-teaching guide, Chemistry, 3rd edition. The other one is Chemistry for Dummies. I've only used these books like when I'm trying to like look for something. And again, when it comes to these really thick books, that's typically what I use them for. Just like, oh, let me look at the contents and see what's in here, see if it covers the topic I'm trying to learn on, and then I'll go to that page and like I'll learn about it. Like there's no way I'm going to go through this book step by step and learn about it. But it is nice to have like a book on chemistry that I can have in my hands, because again, you research things online, you don't know if the information is accurate, or if you're like me, your internet goes out a lot and you need books to reference things. So that's why I got these. Let's name off the books I 100% recommend you buying. No matter where you are in your formulating journey, these are the books I recommend. Discovering Cosmetic Science, Good Manufacturing Practice, The Science of Beauty, Skincare Decoded, Modern Cosmetics. And if you're a beginner, I'm going to recommend this one, the Milady Skincare and Cosmetic Ingredient Dictionary. But if you've been formulating for a while, then I'll recommend this one, Cosmetic Microbiology, A Practical Approach, 3rd edition. Those are all the books I 100% recommend you getting. All the rest, take it or leave it, 0 out of 10, don't recommend it at all. So some other creators who create content like me that I recommend you checking out. First up, there's Raviga Cosmetics. Her and I have collabed a lot in the past, so I definitely recommend her channel. She is very informative, and if you are based in the UK, she talks a lot about the UK regulations, which are completely different than here. I also recommend Jerica Zimmerman. She and I and Raviga Cosmetics have done some chats together over on Jenna's channel, which is Raviga Cosmetics. Those are so fun. But I highly recommend her if you are looking for like vlogs of somebody who has a a soap business. She also makes other things like scrubs, lotions, candles, but primarily she focuses on her soaps for her business. So if you're looking for a small business vlogger to follow, Jerica's definitely the one. There's also Brown Sugar Skincare, and she does a lot of vlogs on her small business. So if you want some more skincare small business vloggers to follow, check her out. There's also Joseph's Lab. You can follow her over on Instagram or go to her website, Joseph's Lab, and she does a lot of formulating content on Instagram and Patreon, but her website, you can actually get one-on-one consultations. You can buy formulas from her. We have collabed in the past. Check her out. Can't forget Humblebee and Me. Murray is an OG. She has been doing this for so long. Check out Murray. Chances are you've probably come across her content already on Google or something, but Humblebee and Me is everywhere. Don't forget to check out her content. I also recommend checking out Cosmetic Your Ways over on Instagram. He's also got his own blog. He is so informative when it comes to formulating, and he's actually in school to become a cosmetic formulator. So it's fun getting his takes on the topics and just having just like a fresh perspective on the formulating community through the lens of somebody in school for it. Because most of us haven't went to school for it who are in this community. So it's always fun to get his take on things. Also, Yaya DIY Creations. How dare I forget about her? She just hasn't been posting too much like in the past year or so that's probably why I forgot about her. But go check her out. She is the queen of body butters if you want to learn more about making body butters. Also, Royalty Soaps. You guys probably already know who she is, Katie Carson. But she is on YouTube if you want to learn more about formulating soap. Chemist Confessions. These are two friends and they have a YouTube channel. They post reels. So you can go on Instagram and follow them there. They have all kinds of great content, and they also are the ones who wrote this book, Skincare Decoded. So I recommend checking them out. There's also Lab Muffin Beauty Science. Michelle Wong, she has a blog, she has a YouTube channel, she posts on Reels all the time, and she wrote this book. So I highly recommend checking out her channel as well. Oh, I can't forget Swift Crafty Monkey, of course. This is Susan, but she's mainly a blogger, and she's been doing this for so long. So she is like another OG and probably a place where a lot of people learned how to formulate. And I highly recommend checking out her blog, Swift Crafty Monkey. Again, I'll have that link down below along with everybody else. She is a huge reason as to like how I got into this, because I ran across her blog like years ago and I was like, wow, there's a whole world to this. So much credit goes to Susan. Love her content. Highly recommend checking it out. Someone else I recommend you watching is, here's her handle. It's in French. I'm pretty sure it's in French. I believe she is in Canada, Quebec. Yeah, she's in Quebec. And she is like an OG too. I remember seeing her create content before I went like full force doing homemade skincare. But primarily she does like soap and like bath and body. But she is on Instagram and YouTube as well. Highly recommend checking her out. She's great. And I feel like no matter what, I'm going to end up missing people. Okay, so someone else I recommend you guys checking out and following is The Eco Well. This is actually a podcast, but you can watch all their Instagrams as well. So much great information on beauty science and just like the beauty industry overall. Also over on Instagram, this is his handle here, Mo Skin Lab. Highly recommend his content. And I believe that is everybody I recommend. Oh, there's also Skin Kimmy on Instagram. She shares a lot of like helpful information as well. I feel like she doesn't really post anymore. Yeah, she hasn't posted in a while, but I do recommend her content too. So that is it when it comes to like influencers or like content creators. But other sources where you can learn online is Chemist Corner. If you have any question, type it into Google and then add Chemist Corner at the end. chemistcorner.com is a website that is like a forum where people can ask questions and then people answer them. So you can get actual like chemists, scientists, people who have been in the industry for years as like advice or opinion on topics. But going on there and like reading people's like discussions is extremely helpful. So I recommend that place to help like answer your questions or problem solve basically. And I also recommend going on any supplier's websites and checking out like what sources they have. Makingcosmetics.com has tons of different sources on like how to sell, how to microbiome test, how to stability test. They have so much information. Also like information on how to formulate with specific ingredients. Lotioncrafter.com, formulatorsampleshop.com, Wholesale Supplies Plus, And that's basically all I can think of. On my website, terraleeskincare.com, I have a list of a bunch of different suppliers organized by country. And again, clicking on these suppliers, they might or might not have sources, so you can learn more about formulating. But they normally always provide sources on how to formulate with each individual ingredients, but sometimes they don't. It is freezing in here. What is the temperature out? The temperature is 13 degrees outside, and I have had my heat off for 4 hours. It is freezing in here because if it's on, it's really loud and you guys can't hear me talk. So I'm gonna go. Hopefully I didn't forget anything because I can't think properly because I'm so cold, and I've already recorded 3 other videos prior to this, but I hope I didn't forget anybody or anything. All right, thank you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed. And don't forget, if you want to learn how to formulate, go watch my Formulating for Beginners series, step-by-step video on how to formulate. Recommend checking that out. See you later. Also, don't forget to go over and check out my Patreon, where I post 2 exclusive videos every single month. So there is a ton of videos you can go over there and binge watch. For only $5 a month, you get access to the entire backlog. And for $10 a month, you can get a shout out for your small business. So let's shout everybody out. naturesfarmgirl.com, Let's Blend LLC, at Stardust Bath and Body on Instagram, hempygirl.com, shoplevis.com, Owl and Lily on Etsy, embracebeautyessentials.com, Legendary Bath and Body, Astari Apothecary, Reviga Cosmetics here on YouTube, exorebb.com, pardonaturals.com, Natural State Skin, thenatureandus.ca, nearcatalier.com, use the code on the screen for 20% off, earthandambernaturals.com, Shark City Naturals, Day to Relax Spa, Crowned Glory LLC, LH Scented Soaps and more, Janae Rose, Health Nut Beauty on Etsy, velvettemptations.com, Journey Rose Beauty, chrbrands.com, Homestead Life Goods on Etsy, VanillaBathAndBody.com, Madhouse Mama Soaps, xpo.com, Mystical Morning on Etsy, and the rest of these brands haven't launched yet. SkinByDevu.com, Seventh House and Oak on Etsy, at Black Petal Beauty on Instagram, and mycrownandglowery.com. Thank you guys so much for your support. Literally, without you guys on the Patreon, I wouldn't be able to continue doing what I do. So thank you so much.